43. Okay, that's good. We're going to get started in 30 seconds. My cat's name is Simone. He's right here, but he's on the wrong side. Maybe he'll show himself on camera later, but he's lately been sitting outside of the camera, He's over here on the right. Hold on, let me just do one thing real quick. Put actually this phone upside down so I don't get like the sun in my eyes. Okay, we're going to get into these questions in a second. Let me just explain to you guys who haven't been at my lives before how I've been doing them. So I think I started with this board at the Australian Open. I'm not sure, but I've been doing this board last year, and I have several topics on here, right? Some really, really juicy topics. I hope you can read this board. And I'm going to go through these one by one, but I'm going to take breaks in between and answer some questions. So right now I'm going to get started with the first topic on the board, which is ESPN. And I got to tell you, it's been a disaster. And I actually made a video about the problems that I had with the ESPN streaming service. And even on TV, it's been problematic because I know a lot of you guys don't have the app and you watch tennis on TV. And there were some instances where like the matches start at 7 or 7:30, p.m. Eastern time, and they're showing some other stuff on ESPN 2 or ESPN. One day, it was virtual golf. Listen, nothing against golf. I don't watch golf, but virtual golf, like they were hitting golf, and it was like one of those computer golf games. I don't even know, but they were showing that instead of a very important match at the Australian Open. So very frustrating. I saw a lot of people complain about it on Threads. I've been going on Threads a lot, and Threads is getting really good for tennis. So if you haven't followed me yet, follow me on Instagram and on Threads at Intuitive Tennis. I try to post there as much as I can. And let me tell you my process. So just one example is the semifinals day of the men. So I tried to stay up for the Zverev Alcaraz match, but I fell asleep and I kept waking up and I barely caught any of the match. I was exhausted because I haven't really been sleeping the days prior to that match. And so I did wake up like for real for the Djokovic Sinner match, and I watched that one live. But I decided to watch both of those matches on replay. That's why I released my semifinals analysis video at like 3 a.m. the following day. I was super late with that video. But I can't make a video without watching the matches in their entirety. And sometimes I watch the match twice and take notes and all that. So I put a lot of effort into my analysis of the matches. And the frustrating thing on the ESPN app is the following. First of all, on some days, they didn't have the matches named. It was just saying like court 5, court 6, court 16, and these weird arenas that I never heard of. Like just you have to click on each little thumbnail. You don't know what match it is. There's no picture of the player or anything. And then it's like some junior match, right? Or something like that. So that was frustrating. But also, on a lot of days, they didn't even put the big matches on replay. And as I told you guys in my video very early in the Australian Open, I was very surprised that my old ESPN subscription didn't work anymore, ESPN Plus. I think it was originally like $9.99, and then it was like $11.99 or something like that. And all of a sudden that wasn't enough. So I, of course, bought ESPN Unlimited. And even with my Unlimited subscription, I tried to watch the matches that I missed, and they're not there. And I was like forced to go to YouTube. And this is bad, I know, but there are some like illegal matches on YouTube, like these, I don't know what these guys do, but they put them up and then like the Australian Open takes them down real quick. But I was able to catch one of these like one of these weird YouTube accounts. I had to watch the match on there. Can you believe it? So I'm paying like I think it's $35 a month for ESPN Unlimited. I'm forced to go to YouTube and looking really hard to find the match to watch it somewhat in its entirety because I can't give you an analysis of a highlight video. I don't learn anything from highlights. The highlights I clipped, in my opinion, very poorly. They don't show you the important points of the match, break points, set points. They just show you the winners, and I find that maybe it's entertaining to some, but for me, it has no value. I have to watch the match in order to report on the match. So that was one complaint that I had. I couldn't even find the matches. But even when they had the matches, because towards the end of the tournament, they did have the matches on demand. You click on the match, and remember, the semifinals were like 10 hours. Alcaraz, Zverev was like 5.5 hours, and Djokovic Sinner was like 4.5 hours, right? So 5.5 hour match, and I'm on the player. And of course, when I'm rewatching the match, I want to skip through the unimportant parts of the match. And there's a 10-second button on the screen. And you know, on like YouTube or on Netflix, you can just click real fast there and it just goes forward. No. Every time you click 10 second on the ESPN player, the page like refreshes and 10-second button disappears. And you're pressing, and now all of a sudden you're like zooming in on the screen, and then you have to zoom back out. Unbelievably frustrating. So you can't even fast forward through these matches. Listen to this. Every time you use the scroller on the bottom, it activates the ads. So I'm paying $35 a month, and I have to sit through probably like hours of ads because they're, of course, running on the changeovers. But anytime you try to scroll back and forth, it activates a 1-minute ad break. So to say that I was frustrated is an understatement, but it goes even deeper than that. As I'm looking for these matches, I see something called animated matches. I don't know if you guys saw this, but what a waste of time for whoever had to put that together, an animated version of the match, and that's on the app that you're paying for. So, you know, when the tournament was over, ESPN said, "I'll see you in Wimbledon." I'm not looking forward to Wimbledon. Not at all. And then the US Open, I'm going to cancel ESPN probably today. And last time I tried to cancel, I couldn't find the delete, account membership button, and ended up running the membership all the way through between the US Open and the Australian Open. And I don't watch any other sports. I only watch tennis. So I watch Formula One a little bit, but we have Formula One TV. My daughter is a huge Formula One fan. So the only two sports I watch are tennis and Formula One. And I am so disappointed with ESPN. I got to tell you, Tennis Channel so much better, and thankfully now the coverage goes back to the Tennis Channel. I love the Tennis Channel Plus app, and TNT is going to cover Roland Garros. I thought they did a fantastic job last year, and even on ESPN, like there was no effort put into making little segments. Like I thought TNT did a great job putting segments together. I felt like the match was over, and they were so quick to jump off the tennis broadcast and go to something else. So I don't know. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. I thought ESPN was really bad, and I've seen a lot of people complain about it. So let me go through this chat right here, and we're gonna answer a few questions, and then we're going to go on to the next topic. Hold on a second. This board, it's not staying up. Okay, that's better. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, you canceled ESPN Unlimited today. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to cancel today. Probably all of them. Oh, this is a very interesting question. Why do you always glaze Sinner? I love this. Like, I don't understand this thing that goes on in some of my videos where people think that I'm this huge Sinner fan. I like Jannik Sinner a lot, and I like Carlos Alcaraz. The reason why I picked Jannik Sinner for those tournaments last year and the Australian Open is because I thought that he had the best chance to win, and he did win. I picked him to win Rome. That's the only one I got wrong, okay? I thought that his performances in the rounds prior to the final were really strong. Remember, he almost beat Casper Ruud 0-0. And I wasn't sure whether that version of Alcaraz was new Alcaraz because he didn't play Madrid before. He pulled out, and he lost to Holger Rune in Barcelona in the final. So that's the reason why I picked Sinner in Rome, okay? But then I took the information from the Rome tournament, and I picked Alcaraz for Roland Garros. All my draws, Draws are posted on Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel in the community tab. So you can see it all there. And you can watch those videos back. So I picked Alcaraz for Roland Garros. I picked Sinner for Wimbledon. And then I picked Alcaraz for US Open because Sinner didn't impress me during the US hardcourt swing. So no, I'm not glazing Jannik Sinner just because I picked him to do the indoor rampage, which he ended up doing. He's the best indoor player. So I thought two-time defending champion, a lot of confidence from the indoor season and the court surface being somewhat fast, even though when the tournament started, I started hearing that it's not that fast actually. But so prior to the tournament, there was enough info for me there to pick Sinner as a champ. It didn't end up happening, but no, I don't glaze Jannik Sinner. I don't know where that comes from. All right, let me see a couple more questions, and we're going to go from there. Yeah, ESPN has way too many ads. I agree. Oh, I'm not going to talk about the 3-month suspension. This guy says it's not the picks, it's the defending the 3-month suspension. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. Watch my videos back. It's not about that. I'm completely anti-doping or anti-anything that's unnatural, okay? And you have to understand this case. And if you understand it correctly, you know that there were no shenanigans, okay? Hello from Italy. How Sinner could overcome his main weakness, that is to win a 4-hour plus match. Now he wins 0. Now he's 0 wins on 8 match. I was going to talk about Sinner and down there all the way in the bottom. But I'll discuss this now because that's kind of separate from what I was going to talk about. So the thing with Sinner is that he lost to a lot of great players in 5 sets in long matches. So that's one thing you have to put into context. And also, he hasn't played that many 5-setters. But I agree that that's one area of his game that can improve. And it's one of those things that's difficult to work on. And another thing with Sinner, when he's playing really well at Grand Slams, is that he wins in straight sets. So not a lot of opportunities for him to experience 5 sets, especially against players other than Djokovic or Alcaraz. He's just too dominant, right? So I think that's going to be a tricky one for him. I do think it's going to be tricky because, like I said, the only players that can push him to 5 are Djokovic and Alcaraz right now. Someone like Ben Shelton, he can't make it to 5 sets against Sinner. So it's so difficult to improve your 5-set record when you have to beat Alcaraz to do so. So that's a tricky one for Jannik. Of course, when you talk about conditioning, I think Jannik is going to take a hard look at what happened against Spizzirri, and he's going to fix it. He's got a great team, and I'm not worried about that. Jannik is a hard worker, always looking to improve. So his physical conditioning is going to continue to get better. I think there might be some limitations, genetic limitations possibly, where he'll probably never like super hot and humid conditions. But I don't necessarily think that it's weird. I don't think he's that bad in these conditions as people make it out to be, because look, he won US Open, he won Cincinnati, he won Australian Open twice. Like, yeah, he struggles in some matches. Even last year when he won, he struggled against Rune, but I think he does okay, and he's going to continue to do better. That part you can definitely fix, but the longevity of a match, you said 4+ hours. That's of course something that you can work on, but only from a physical standpoint, right? So you can work on the being more fit physically to last longer, and even that's tricky because nothing can replicate the real match. But I'm more worried about the mental aspect of a long match, because the 2 very recent matches where Sinner failed from a mental standpoint was, of course, Roland Garros against Alcaraz in 25, and then this match against Djokovic at Australia. So both of those weren't great. I think the one against Djokovic is less worrisome because I didn't think that Jannik did anything wrong. on those opportunities that he had in the fifth set. It was just Djokovic playing GOAT tennis, aces, winners. So I think the one against Alcaraz hurt more because there were chances there, you know? So yeah, with Jannik, a little bit of a question mark. That's like one thing about him that's a little bit of a question mark, and that's the 5-set record and long matches. All right, one more question, then we'll go on to the next thing. Hi, Nick. I'm amongst the Sinner fans who doesn't believe Sinner has a fitness issue. I think his loss to Djokovic was a mental one. 100%. That one wasn't fitness. Jannik looked fresh to me. It was mental, but, you know, not that bad of a mental collapse, let's say, because, again, Djokovic was playing lights out. So I don't think that one's going to hurt as much as people think for Jannik. He's going to bounce back. But we'll talk about it when he comes up on the board. Hi, Nick. Novak, after the AO final, said he had some medical issues in the second and third set. He refused to tell. What was that about? Do you have some idea of what kind of medical problems he had? Thanks. I'm going to discuss Novak later. He's on the board as well. No, I don't know. He didn't go into any specifics. I watched the Serbian interview with him at the Serbian press conference. I always listen to that one, and he was asked a couple times, and he didn't go into any specifics, and he won't. I don't think you'll find out. I saw some people write stuff in my comment section on the last video about certain medical things, but I was like, how do you know that? Did Novak say that? If so, provide a link, and I haven't gotten a link yet. So I have absolutely no idea what was wrong with Novak in the second and third set. All right. Let's go on to the next topic on the board, and that is if Zverev. Okay? It's a very interesting topic. And the rest of that sentence is, if Zverev would have beaten Alcaraz, would he have won the Australian Open against Djokovic that had that collapse? So let me know in the chat. Would Zverev have won Australian Open against Djokovic in the final with Novak in that condition? Let me know what you think. Yes or no? Would Zverev have won the Australian Open? One yes, everything else is a no. And I agree. There's absolutely no way Zverev beats Novak Djokovic in the final of the Australian Open, even with that collapse that Novak had. Absolutely no way. Maybe he gets set 2 and 3 because I thought Novak's level was so much worse than in the first set, but there's no way Zverev gets out of that fourth set. I truly believe he doesn't. I also don't believe he beats Novak in 2025 in the semis. I don't. I know Zverev has beaten Novak in important tournaments, but at the Grand Slam level in this circumstance, I don't believe it. I think Zverev, just like he did against Alcaraz, would have had problems in this match. And Novak would have capitalized on those problems, and Zverev would have been toast. And let's say that Novak would play the exact same way. Great first set, poor set 2 and 3. I feel that even set 3, where Novak in the beginning was playing better and then kind of had problems towards the end of the third, I don't think Zverev wins set 3. I don't think he wins set 4. I think Novak beats him in 4 or 5 sets if he would have played the way he did against Alcaraz in the final with those ups and downs. That's unfortunate to the reality for Zverev, because even though he played some of the best tennis that I've ever seen him play, from a mental standpoint, it wasn't a great performance against Alcaraz. Because think of it this way, and I've talked about this in my analysis of the match. This is not something new that I'm saying. Alcaraz could not move at all. Now we know it's cramps, but at that moment in time, we don't have to get into that, okay? Whatever. It's just about whether the medical timeout was legitimate or not. That's the only argument in that scenario. But we know that Alcaraz wasn't able to move. He was not even running to balls. Or if he was running like me, okay? Still better than me, but there wasn't any movement from Alcaraz. And Alcaraz managed to hold serve through the entirety of set 4, and he even held the serve in set 3, if you can imagine. And his physical condition was way worse in the third set. It was really bad in the beginning of the fourth. And then it got a little bit better towards the end of the fourth. But can you imagine Alcaraz holding serve and in that third set slapping stationary winners? And this is one area where stats can be completely misleading, because I saw on TV someone was praising Zverev's stats in that match. He was not missing anything in set 3 and 4, but who cares? He was hitting central balls, looping them in, and Alcaraz was hitting stationary winners. That cost him the match right there. What he should have done is hit a lot more drop shots and hit hard into the corners like he did in the fifth set. Now, of course, Alcaraz level dropped way down in the gutter, so that can drag your level down a little bit. But I mean, the guy has one of the best serves in the world, and he could have blown Alcaraz off the court. Won the third set 6-4 and won the fourth set 6-0 or 6-1. Now, what would have happened is that this could have been done in 20 or 30 minutes, and Alcaraz would have carried the physical issues into the fifth set, and Zverev would have won the match. But allowing Alcaraz to regain his fitness by letting those sets drag on, going into tie breaks, by the time Alcaraz was in the fifth, he was okay. So that cost him the match. So, long story short, if Zverev would have won that match, there would have been problems like that problem that I just explained in the final against Djokovic. And he's not winning the final. Now, Zverev can, of course, win the final if there is anyone else other than Djokovic, Sinner, and Alcaraz, but that's not going to happen right now. Those three guys are way too dominant, and he's going to have to go through those guys consecutively to take a title, and it's just not happening. All right, next question in the chat. Let's talk about some of the questions you guys have. Can we get some early predictions for the next slams just for fun? I talked about this on the Tennis Nerd podcast. I only will make the predictions once the draw comes out, and I need to wait. So I have no idea what's going to happen. And we're going to talk about some of what's going to happen next. I know that Alcaraz pulled out of Rotterdam, which I think is a great thing to do. He has to be more selective with his tournaments. I thought that Alcaraz plays way too many tournaments. So that's a great move by Alcaraz pulling out of Rotterdam. So we just have to watch and see what they're doing, the top guys. What Djokovic is going to do? Is he going to play Indian Wells in Miami? Is he going to take everything off until Monte Carlo, or what's going to happen? I don't know. So we have to watch and see. I can't really make any predictions. It will be completely useless. I know people are already now saying who's going to win Wimbledon and who's going to win Roland Garros. Way too early. Way too early. We have to wait and see. I'm so upset and sad for Musetti, wishing him a quick recovery. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think that's as tough of an injury as like Dimitrov, for example. He was in a similar situation against Sinner. Dimitrov was out for the rest of the year. He came back in Paris. So I think Musetti is going to be back very quickly. The muscle's going to heal. He's going to be okay. What do you think of the coach's box being right next to the court? And Anisimova got really upset that they weren't pumping her up during the tiebreak, which I thought was fair. I don't know. I talked about this so many times. Like, in my opinion, there's too much emphasis on the coaching. And now the coaches got a trophy, which is fine, for the Grand Slams. But there's just too much talk about the coaches, too much emphasis on that. You hear most of the players say that they're fine playing on their own and they can get some input from the coaching box, but a constant interaction with the coaches, I don't think it's good for the game. I've talked about this enough. Sure, if you do it between the sets or important stages of the match, it can sometimes help a player, but I'll repeat this again. If you go on Zabina Lisicki fans with 3 S's and you take a look at some of the WTA coaching videos that they have up, they show you examples of coaching on the WTA tour, and there's a reason why the WTA stopped with the mic'd changeovers with the coach being there, because it was a disaster. So I don't think we need any of that. Um, I don't even like it when Alcaraz interacts with the team. Of course, Djokovic does it in a whole different way. That's a whole nother story for another day. But not a big fan for that, just because I don't think in match coaching is make it out to be. And I'm not saying it's not effective at all, but it doesn't have that big of an impact. And I like tennis to be preserved as an individual sport where players figure it out on their own, and I think they do that anyway. They figure it out on their own most of the time. So yeah, not a big fan of that. Oh, that's a great question. Do you think Tien lacks power to challenge the top five? Um, that's so tough. Hmm. Maybe, yeah. I think maybe he does. I think he can make top 10, but top five, he'll have to continue to improve. I think he can improve. And the fact that he's lefty makes him very difficult. And the improvements are mostly have to um, be done on the serve. I feel that maybe from juniors on, where he was very comfortable rallying, he could be serving faster. He likes to slide that serve in and get the rally started. He needs to bring the heat more consistently. That's probably the biggest area of improvement for Tien, the serve. But off the ground, I think that he's playing more aggressive now than he was a year ago. So he's already improving. But to be in the top five, see, the problem is, think about it. Like, the more you go up in the rankings, these guys all serve well and they return well. And so if Tien comes in there and his service games are exposed, he's going to be in more trouble, right? Also, another thing, that now that he's been on tour for a while, players are going to get more comfortable with him. That's another thing to consider. So the tour at that very, very high level is all about continuing to improve and not stagnating in the way you're playing, because it's so tough up there. You got to continue to put in the work. And I think he's done that, of course. I'm not saying that he hasn't, but he's developing nicely. I think he's just a tad under the radar, not completely, but I think for sure under the radar of guys like TFO. And so I think that he can definitely be top 10, like I said. But for top five, there needs to be more. There needs to be bigger serving and bigger overall weapons. But as I said during the Australian Open, I dedicated an entire video to him. He's amazing. I love watching him play. Like, so much ball control. It seems like he's able to play without missing, very consistent, and can produce spectacular results from anywhere in the court. He's amazing. Um, a little bit of a blast from the past, right? That was the main topic of my video. Presented the American rankings and how many Americans we have in the top 100. And there's always been this stereotype of American players, big serve, big forehand, like Roddick, Isner, Query, guys like that. But Tien is not that. He's something completely different. And I love that. So big fan of him, and hopefully he's going to continue to develop and climb up the rankings. I think he's great for American tennis, and also great for the Vietnamese community. I had a lot of Vietnamese students here in Southeast Florida, for example. Alec and Ethan, who you might know from my channel. Ethan played Ema one time, and I did some other lessons with him. And Alec was one of the first guys I featured on the Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel, starting in 2018. And they were both like Tien, from a Vietnamese family. So great for the Vietnamese community to have a superstar player like that. Can you please cover events like ATP 500 at least, and give us your picks to win the tournaments? So that's a good opportunity to talk about these type of videos that I'm doing. So the Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel will never be a channel that only covers professional tennis, because I never want to give up doing the other types of videos. So you're always going to see match play on my channel. You're always going to see student lessons. and you always are going to see technical videos, whether it's pro stroke analysis or lessons for you guys on certain strokes. What you'll never see on Intuitive Tennis YouTube is vlogs. Okay, so don't worry, I'll never make a vlog, but I'm going to continue doing that. Now, I'm going to do that type of content in phases of the season where it's a little bit slow. So right now, for example, it's a very slow phase. After the Australian Open, we're going back indoors. A lot of people don't care. So will I cover those tournaments? Yes, but only in like a Monday morning rant format. Every Monday, I plan to continue to do that. And if something crazy happens, I'll make a video, no doubt about it. But I won't cover those tournaments like Cam Williams does, like on a daily basis. I can't. But when it comes to like bigger tournaments, 500s, I'll cover more. Masters 1000, just like last year, I covered a lot of it. If you look, I covered a lot of the Indian Wells, Miami, Monte Carlo. I did a lot. So I plan to continue to do that. Maybe not like every single day like I did for the slams, but I'm going to cover those tournaments in great depth. And then, of course, the Grand Slam. So there's going to be a lot of content like this covering professional tennis, but there's also going to be some matches interspersed in the content, some lessons, student lessons, and I plan to make every December from now on match month, just like I did in 2025. So that's my plan for the Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel. All right, next topic on the board. Let's see what we got. 3 days of rest, guys. 3 days of rest. Let me take a sip of water, and then we'll talk about 3 days of rest. Who do you think will win Rotterdam? I haven't seen a draw. Oh, this is a good one. About the 5 sets for women, would it not be too much for women's bodies to deal with 5 sets? So yeah, I read that thing that Craig Tiley said. I remember Craig Tiley from back in the day when I played college tennis. He was the head coach for University of Illinois that had one of the best teams of all time in Division One college tennis. We played against them at the Nationals one year in the first round, and we got destroyed. But when we played them, they had Amir Delic on the team, Rajiv Ram. They had this other guy called, what's his name? Graydon Oliver, I think. He was like a top 200 or top 100 doubles player. And their team was stacked, and Craig Tiley was the coach. So, yeah, I read what Craig said, and I love it. I've been saying this for like 4 years on the Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel that women should play best of 5. Not maybe in every single match, but there should be some best of 5 women's matches. It would be amazing. Can you imagine like a 5-set battle for the women? It would be so fun. And it would immediately end all these ridiculous arguments about equal prize money. It would end it right away. So, all right. Next question on the board. Again, 3 days of rest, guys. 3 days of rest. What am I talking about? Well, the number one thing that I've been reading in comments on my videos and even other videos is that Djokovic only beat Sinner because he had 3 days of rest. And this is the main thing that people are saying about Djokovic's performance at the 2026 Australian Open. And I want to ask you guys a question. If you give 3 days of rest prior to a semifinal to any other player in the world, other than, of course, Alcaraz, but other than Djokovic, any other player, pick anyone, pick Shelton, pick anyone, pick Zverev, give him 3 days of rest prior to the semis. Are they going to beat Sinner? What do you think? Absolutely not. It makes absolutely no difference. Whether you have a year rest, 10 days, 1 day, it doesn't matter. You're not beating Sinner. You're just not. People are saying Sinner played poorly and Novak Djokovic had 3 days of rest, and they're minimizing this result. This is one of the biggest accomplishments in the history of our sport. That's what you have to understand. I hope you understand this. It is unbelievable what Novak was able to do, especially in the context that he was struggling against Sinner and against Alcaraz physically in the semis. And that's, of course, helped him having a little bit of rest. But it doesn't matter, rest or not. The fact that he was able to beat Sinner at this stage of his career, at 38 and a half years old, where Sinner was a two-time defending Australian Open champion, made 5 consecutive Grand Slam finals prior to this tournament. He won everything indoors. Novak takes him out. And people are saying Sinner played poorly. He didn't. He didn't play poorly at all. What are you talking about? And, he had a lot of chances, but it wasn't like he choked. Djokovic was hitting aces and playing out of his mind. So the 3 days of rest comment that I'm seeing so much is there to minimize Novak's accomplishment. And yes, of course, it helped him a little bit. Maybe we'll see at the Roland Garros and Wimbledon. I think Novak did something. He's a different player now. Because remember, he was gassed at the first round of the US Open against Tien and the second round against Svita. Remember that? So Novak Djokovic did something. He got himself in way better shape, I think. And he was a different player. Even with that 3 days of rest, 2025 version of Novak is going to gas out against Sinner. And yes, he had some physical issues in that match too, in the second, third set, but he was able to recover. So again, one of the most unbelievable accomplishments in the history of tennis, and it shouldn't be minimized with this stupid 3 days of rest comment. Of course, the context with Musetti is important, but that's what makes tennis so beautiful, and that's something that I talked about many times on the Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel as an inspirational thing for you guys, a motivational thing, because in tennis, you can go from playing your worst tennis to your best tennis in one specific match, or from one day to another. So you can play a match and play the worst tennis of your life in the first set, and then you find the best tennis of your life in the third, or you can play the worst tennis of your life on one day, come through somehow miraculously, you come back out the next day and you play the best tennis of your life. Novak has been doing this his whole career. Do you understand? And who knows whether Musetti would have beaten him? Is that guaranteed? Like, has Novak never come back from 2 sets to love down? So Novak has done this so many times where he's playing horrible at some stage in the Grand Slam tournament. Usually it's like early rounds where he's like squeaking out a 4-set, 5-set victory against someone. And then he ends up winning the slam by beating like Federer or Nadal in the final. Happened so many times. So that's the thing. Understand that your best tennis is very close to your worst tennis. That's the beauty of tennis because it's a hard sport. But if you put in the work, you will be able to access your best tennis. You just have to keep going and keep trying. And it's there somewhere. You can get to it. You just have to get through matches and be a fighter and be tough. This match from Djokovic against Sinner and this context of him playing horrible against Musetti, is something that's amazing. But let's take it down like about 600 levels. And I'll tell you a personal story. I remember this vividly, and I talk about this. I don't know if I discussed it on YouTube, but I've talked about this privately with my students, again, as a motivational thing. And it was at a tournament in close to Halle, okay, in that area in Germany. I didn't live far away from there. That was like Ostwestfalen. I lived in like Westfalen. That's North Rhine-Westphalia state in Germany, like northwest. And there was a series of prize money tournaments in the winter indoors where you could like get points to qualify for this like Masters tournament that was like at the end. And there was good prize money in that Masters tournament. I don't remember. Maybe it was like $5,000 for the winner or $4,000. I don't remember. But there was good prize money. So I qualified for this Masters tournament, and in the first round, I had a really lucky draw because I played a wild card, a local wild card, somebody that was like wasn't even ranked in Germany or was ranked like really low in the men's ranking. And my best friend at the time, René Holm, was there with me. He was playing as well. And I lost the first set against this guy and ended up squeaking out like this 3-set victory. And René after the match told me, Nick, I've never seen you play so bad. What were you doing out there? And I was kind of weirded out by that because I had a really positive feeling after that match. Like, I know I played poorly. I played horrible, but I somehow made it through. And I'll never forget this. Like, I played so bad, but I was very positive after the match and happy to be through to get another chance to play another match. But then Rene said that to me. He's never seen me play so bad because he perceived this match as the worst thing he's ever seen. So I come back the next round, and I don't remember the guy I beat in the next round. But then I remember I don't remember his name, but I remember I played a guy that I had lost to before, and I beat him like 4-4, and that was already like kind of like, yeah, that's a nice result. Like, and I think I was in a semis with that result. And then I remember I played Scott Gessner, who was like a really good German player, had a really, really high German ranking. I think he even played on the ATP Tour, was like 300 or something like that, or 400. I don't remember exactly. And yeah, he was a little bit more of a clay court specialist, and this was indoors, so it was a little bit more of an advantage for me. But still, to get a win against this guy would have been huge. And I ended up beating this guy, and I made it to the final. And in the final, I played Andre Pavel, who was, I think, career high 11 or something like that. And at that time, when I played him, he was top 100. It was like 75 in the world. And the only reason why he entered that tournament because he lived in this town and just wanted to get some matches. So he entered it just to practice. And I played against him in the final. And I took him to a tiebreak in a set. And I was so proud of that because I was serving really well and he couldn't break me. I ended up losing. But I never forgot this because the discrepancy in my level between that first round match and the semis and the final was unbelievable. Again, my absolute worst tennis, where I'm losing to someone that's like not even ranked in Germany, like someone that should be beating 0-0 or 1-1, playing horrible. And then a couple days later, I'm playing some of the best tennis of my life. That's what tennis is. It's a really weird sport. But again, like, you put in the work and your best tennis is there somewhere. You just got to keep trying, keep getting through matches. And that's what Novak does better than anyone in history. And you can't use this 3 days of rest or the fact that, he was losing to Musetti as something that you want to use to downgrade his achievement against Sinner, because again, it's one of the biggest achievements in sporting history. I wouldn't say sporting history, in tennis history. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it because I thought that Novak wasn't able to do that anymore based on how he played against Sinner and Alcaraz in 2025. So yeah. All right, let's read a few more things on the chat, and then we're going to go into the next thing. Okay, we're advancing on the board pretty well. The next thing is going to be quick, and the thing after is very interesting, actually. Remember Korda saying he was a contender at Wimbledon? Yes. That was a big mistake for Korda. Huge mistake. Put so much pressure on himself for no reason. You got to go step by step and have realistic goals that are right there. Like maybe win a round and then win 2 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever. Win a 500. I don't know if you won a 500. I'm not sure. But win 1,000. Like, have realistic goals. Like, my biggest example of somebody with perfect goals is Michael Stich. And I never told this story before. I'll tell it now. Michael Stich is from Hamburg, Germany. Hamburg. And there's a tournament in Hamburg that used to be a 1,000 Masters. Am Rotenbaum. Federer played it, Nadal played it. It's a huge tournament. And Stich, being from Hamburg, he had this dream to participate in the tournament. So he wanted to play the qualies. It was his big dream. Not to win the tournament, just to play the tournament, to play the qualies. So one year he made the qualies. Then his big dream was to make the main draw. He eventually made the main draw. Then the next goal was, I think, to make the quarters or the semis, to advance, to draw a little bit. He did that. And then, of course, the next step was to win the whole thing. And he ended up winning the whole thing. There was one match that he won. In the final, I think he beat Becker 1-1, if I remember correctly. Please, anyone from Germany that is listening, look up the score. But I think Stich beat Becker in a final in Hamburg, the first time he won Hamburg, and he won him. He beat him 1-1 if I remember correctly. So that's how you should structure goals, and not like Korda, who says I'm the favorite for Wimbledon. That puts so much pressure on himself, and that can't be good. Okay, the great thing. Sometimes too much rest is bad. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. 3 days off is not the positive always. In Novak's context, maybe it is, but you can get out of rhythm, out of a match rhythm, if you have 3 days off. So yeah, that's very much true. I don't think he ran out of gas in the final. I think it was a mental thing. No, I agree. I don't think Novak ran out of gas in that one. Absolutely not. Because his game fell off a cliff in the beginning of the second set, and the first set wasn't that demanding physically. It was over very quickly. So it was something else. I don't know what it is. People are speculating what it was, but something was wrong. But it wasn't him running out of gas. I don't think there was a factor this year. Even though he played Sinner Alcaraz back to back, I feel that, like I said before, Novak did something with his physique. He improved it, and I think he's physically better than he was in the second half of 2025, really starting at Madrid, where, man, you saw Novak at Madrid. That, like, people were writing him off back then. People were making videos saying that Novak is completely toast. And then he made the semis of Roland Garros, beat Zverev in the quarters, and then, people were a little bit shocked at that result, but still they were saying he's toast. So this version of Novak is something different, and we have to see. We have to try to follow Novak as much as we can, see if he's training and what tournament he will choose to play. And it's very unpredictable right now. But like I said in my last video, you can't count Novak out anymore. He's proven that he's able to beat these guys now. Even Alcaraz in the final, he had breakpoint 4 on the fourth, missed the easy forehand. What if he wins that fourth set? You know how tough it is to play Novak in a fifth set, even for Alcaraz? So I'm not saying that Alcaraz would lose necessarily, but it's tough. So Novak surprised me, and I don't know what he was going to do at Wimbledon, for example, his favorite surface. I don't know. So, okay, next question. Next topic on the board is going to be the only thing wrong with Carlos Alcaraz. Guys, put in the chat, what is the only thing that's wrong with Carlos Alcaraz? What do you think? What do you think is wrong with Alcaraz? There's one thing that's wrong. What do you think it is? Tell me in the chat. Maybe somebody can get it right. Bad decisions still. No, he's new Alcaraz. No bad decisions. There's no such thing as perfection in tennis. Yeah, he's going to play some poor sets, poor matches, but this is new Alcaraz. He accepted that match against Nole in Paris. There's new Alcaraz. Nothing wrong. There's one thing that's wrong. Schedule. You can make the claim that the exhibitions are too much, but I don't think Alcaraz is trying that hard in exhibitions, like the one against Fonseca in Miami or the one against Sinner in Korea. Like, those take nothing out of him. Maybe they actually give him some because he's traveling, he's relaxing. So the schedule, I think maybe he needs all those matches. I don't know. But yeah, schedule is a little bit of a question mark, but I don't think it's necessarily a problem. He's too friendly? No, that's not it. Okay. None of this is correct, guys. The only thing that's wrong with Carlos Alcaraz is his new logo. I can't put up the picture right now, but there is a post on Instagram. I don't know if you can find it. Just type into the search Alcaraz logo and you'll find it. It's okay. It's an okay logo. Like, it's not bad. It's like a C with an A. It's all right. But one person on Instagram put together like a picture and they had the big 3 logos on top. Like, the Djokovic logo is awesome. That logo is, like, to me, the best logo in the history of tennis logos. And RF logo is great. They had those 3 on top. Then they had the Sinner logo, which I think is like a fox, if I got it correctly. And that's okay. It's not bad. But to me, the Alcaraz logo looks lazy. It looks lazy. And it goes back to one of the videos that I made during the Australian Open. Like, what's going on with Nike? Like, I love Nike. Like, I love these shoes, for example. This is the old Agassi shoes. Um, I love Nike. I'm a huge Nike fan. I will continue to buy Nike. It's my favorite brand ever. I love the Jordan brand too. But I'm so disappointed what they're doing with their tennis. I talked about the outfits. And did you guys notice, like, Sinner at some point switched to the shorts from last year because the new clothes don't have the Nike Cord logo. They have the swoosh. That's the 2026 edition. 2025 Nike tennis clothes that Sinner and Alcaraz wore have the Nike Court logo. So if you watch carefully, Sinner put on the shorts from last year was the white ones with the Nike Court logo, and he put on that shirt with the mustard color. And I thought his outfit looked way better. He also put a white cap on, so his outfits after the Spizzirri match way better. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Nike. It's very sad to see because it's the most iconic tennis brand out there, and it's not good right now. And yeah, the Carlos Alcaraz logo is the only thing that's wrong with Alcaraz because Carlos Alcaraz is a blessing for the game of tennis. There's nothing wrong with that kid. And I don't know if I'm calling him kid. He's 22, I think, um, but he's perfect. He's a perfect tennis player. Has everything. He's the complete package. He's got the charisma. I've never seen someone like smile when he's losing. I've never seen that. Like, he's amazing. He's an amazing person, amazing player, and yeah, that's why he should have had a he should have a better logo because I'd wear an Alcaraz shirt. I mean, maybe not now because I'm covering professional tennis, so I'll wear it privately. Walk around with an Alcaraz shirt. Walk around with a Sinner shirt. Why not? Like I do it for Rafa. I even have a Djokovic jacket, Lacoste. So I'd buy it. And the thing is, like, if you go to any club across the United States, you're going to see so many people wearing the RF logo, whether it's a Uniqlo one or whether it's still a Nike one. You'll see them wearing a hat or shirts or whatever. People love RF. And then, of course, people love the Rafa clothes. They wear Rafa hats, Rafa shirts. I'll be really honest with you. I don't think I've ever seen anyone wear a Sinner shirt or an Alcaraz shirt. And that is a shame because those guys are just as popular as the big three. I'm not saying that they are like in totality. I think, of course, the most popular player of all time is Federer, followed by Nadal and Djokovic. But Sinner and Alcaraz are very popular. They're at their level basically, or they will get to their level eventually. And I never seen anyone wear their clothes. Isn't that crazy? Think about it. It's ridiculous. So that's something that Nike is likely they're fumbling the whole situation. It's incredible. And I don't know how much they got them locked in. Maybe we'll see these guys go somewhere else, you know. But it's yeah, not good. All right, let me take a look at the chat. The RF logo is pretty cringe. Well, I was never a Roger Federer fan, and I still bought Federer hats. I think it's cool, the RF logo. It's cool. I like it. Alcaraz can be very popular even more than Federer and Nadal. Yeah, I think so. I think he can. I think also tennis is becoming more popular overall. It's reaching a whole new audience. So, yeah, I do believe that these guys can continue to blow tennis up and they can become like two of the most known athletes of all sports. Maybe they already are, but yeah, I agree with that. They can continue to become more popular for sure. Sincaraz hasn't developed a style yet. Well, remember when Nadal came out? He had his own style. Federer had his own style. He had the headband, and he was like, he had a style. The way, what type of clothes he wore. Like you could tell these were Federer clothes, and Nadal, of course, came out with the 3/4 pants and the sleeveless. They had style. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. The outfits that Sinner and Alcaraz were wearing during this year's Australian Open were ridiculous, especially Sinner. That's why he changed the shorts. Those shorts were so bad. Nobody's buying those shorts. You can't tell me you're going to go out there and buy those shorts. Two different tones of mustard on the shorts. I mean, like that's really bad. Um, and Alcaraz, some people were saying they like it. I think the day version was better than the night version. I don't like what he was wearing during the final. I don't think it looked good. Wearing your own initials is cringe. So you think it's cringe that Jordan wore Jordan shoes? Or do you mean like initials other than a logo? See, I don't think it's cringe, the RF or the D for Djokovic. I don't think so. Listen, I think it's like more for the fans because like fans want to be able to wear tennis stuff. They have this urge to do this. I know some people that are huge Federer fans and they are so disappointed that Uniqlo doesn't give people opportunities to buy more of the clothes. Because even if you go to the Uniqlo store, there's only one in Florida in Orlando, you'll find like a couple of Federer shirts somewhere in a corner, they're hidden. That's it. And you can't even get it online. So that's the problem. Like people really want this gear, the tennis player gear, and it's just ridiculous that Nike is like not giving the opportunity for people to get these clothes. All right. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Why doesn't Carlos slice down the line on Jannik Sinner low backhand? Well, Jannik Sinner plays the slice very good. Like he doesn't mind the low ball, especially to the backhand, because he has a very low preparation on both sides. Slice doesn't bother him, and he bends really well. Actually, maybe for having been a top skier in juniors, he has no problem bending, and of course he hits the ball heavy with a lot of spin, very vertical swim path. So the slice doesn't bother Jannik that much, but I think Carlos knows exactly how to play Jannik. Like he comes out there with a game plan, and depending on the circumstance and the surface, Alcaraz knows exactly what to do against Jannik. Another super chat. Thank you. You don't watch football even? I don't. I'm sorry, guys. I never watched football, soccer. I don't watch American football either. Even when I lived in Germany or in Croatia, and I'm from Split, Croatia, and everybody in Split loves Hajduk Split. It's the football club there. I don't care. I mean, I have a Hajduk shirt just to support my city, Split, but I can't stand the Bundesliga in Germany. Not the tennis one, the soccer one. I hate it. But I will watch World Cup when Croatia plays. Like I support Croatia. I love it. I'll watch every game they play. But just like everybody else, like more of a national pride thing than anything else. But I never watched the leagues. I just don't have interest in it. And it was so funny back when I lived in Germany. A lot of my friends or my training partners would play soccer, and even sometimes at practice they would take out the net indoors and they would play soccer across the whole tennis court to warm up, and I wouldn't even participate. I can't stand playing soccer. I'm so bad at it. Man, I can't stand it. I did play basketball back then, though. I used to like basketball a lot, but not soccer, no, or football. Okay, this is a great question. Opinion on Czech women: Vondrousova, Muchova. Let me take a sip of water, and then I'll talk about the Czech women. Oops, look at my board. All right. All right. Okay. Czech women. It is absolutely incredible what Czechia has been able to do in the game of tennis, even on the men's side, but more specifically on the women's side. It's absolutely incredible for a small country like that to have. I think right now they have 8 in the top 100, and if Bartunkova, the one that took out Bencic, is now in the top 100 after this, she was outside. Now they're going to have 9 in the top 100, which is third in the world behind Russia and the United States. And for a country of that size, that's absolutely insane. And the amount of Grand Slam champions that they have, Vondrousova, Wimbledon champ. She won Berlin last year, took out Sabalenka in the final, I think. No, I think she took out Wang in the final. Yeah, she took out Wang in the final. Forget who she beat before. No, that doesn't matter. But Vondrousova is a great player on all surfaces, but especially on clay, where she was a Roland Garros finalist and grass court. So very quirky player, lefty, uncomfortable to play. And Muchova, wow. People love Muchova because of her style. She's very versatile, great volleyer, maybe the best volleyer on tour. I think something big is going to happen for Muchova. She's going to come through in one of these tournaments. Like, she's too good not to. Of course, there are injuries, and hopefully she can stay healthy. But those are only two of many. There are always so many juniors that come through from Czechia, and they just have so many great players. And of course, they have three unbelievable male players too: Menchik, Lehechka, and Mahac. My opinion, all these three guys can be top 20, maybe even higher. So yeah, it's an amazing country. Like, something is done right in that country. In my guesstimation, it's probably the coaching. Maybe the facilities are great too. I wouldn't be able to tell you, but the coaching must be phenomenal, and just the culture of tennis. There might be other factors. I talk about this a lot with my friends. Why so many Eastern European women, especially, are dominating tennis? Because even the ones that play for other countries, like for example Anisimova, right? Like, she still has an Eastern European background, right? If you put that all together, why are Eastern European women specifically so good at tennis? I talked to a lot of people from Eastern Europe, and we haven't been able to come up with the answer why. I don't know. You can't just say genetics. It doesn't add up. So there's got to be something else. I really don't know. But yeah, it's just fact that Eastern European players, you know, a lot of different countries, Ukraine, Russia, but specifically Czechia, it's phenomenal players. It's amazing. Gordon Ivanisevic, did you watch the final, 2000 final? Of course, I did watch it, but for a long time, even though I have a personal connection with Goran, I was such a huge Agassi fan as a kid. I had an Agassi poster in my room. So when Goran played against Agassi in '92, I was actually for Agassi, and my parents couldn't believe it because they were, of course, rooting for Goran, and Agassi ended up winning that match. But when Goran won in 2001, I think it was, not 2000. Or was it? Put in the chat exactly what year Goran won. I don't remember. I think it was 2001. But that was such. I mean, I was like, I think I was crying on that one because he got very tight at the end. They couldn't serve it out against Rafter. That one of the most memorable matches in tennis history for me personally. And then he came to Split into the harbor. I was like, I think 250,000 people were waiting there for him, and he jumped in the harbor, which is notoriously polluted in Split. Like, Croatia, don't get it wrong. Like, the Adriatic in Croatia was rated as having the cleanest waters in the world. 95% of beaches tested in Croatia came out with top ratings. Some of this has to do with like not having any huge rivers that run off into the Adriatic. There's not a lot of industry. There's a lot of currents. Temperature of the water is a little bit cooler than some of the tropics. Croatia has really clean water, but the harbor in Split, especially back in those days, like 25 years ago, it was pretty dirty. And Goran, stripped down to his underwear and jumped in there. It was just insane. That was insane. I was so happy for him. I was so happy that he won Wimbledon. Can you imagine he won it? I still can't believe he won it. What a beautiful ending to his career. Like, because he had a lot of heartbreakers. The Agassi match, then the two Sampras finals. Heartbreak. And then he ends up winning it. Ranked 120. Like, losing. I think he lost to a guy that was ranked like 300 in Queens. And then he like just found his game. He said he found the sound of the ball in the practice prior to his first round match. And he went through guys in that tournament. He beat amazing guys. He beat, I think it was Safin, Roddick. He beat Henman, Rafter. Like, he beat the top of the top to win that tournament. And amazing. I mean, what a story. I mean, he was serving out of his mind. I love the Goran Ivanisevic serve. It's my favorite serve of all time. His serve was clicking. It was clicking. He was serving amazing in that tournament. Okay, guys. There's another center question. So let me get through this board real quick. I have something super interesting I want to share with you guys. So, speaking of football, it's funny. Maybe that's why you brought it up. Slaven Bilic. Slaven Bilic. Do you guys know who that is? He's a soccer, football legend from Split, Croatia. And to be really honest with you, I don't really know anything about him. Okay. Soccer wise, I have no idea where he played or where he coached, but I just know that he's from Split and he played for Hajduk, I think. He's a Croatian, soccer legend, but he has a podcast. And this summer, when Nikki Pilic died, I was consuming a lot of like podcasts with Nikki. I love listening to podcasts with Nikki. You learn so much. Like I learned so much from Nikki Pilic. But anyway, like you know how the algorithm works, right? So I'm watching all these interviews on Serbian channels with Nikki because Nikki was invited to Serbia a lot for interviews, and then of course Croatian ones. So I'm getting recommendations, and all of a sudden I see like Djokovic on the Slaven Bilic podcast, and I gotta tell you, it was one of the best, if not the best, Novak Djokovic interview that I ever listened to. Absolutely amazing, and there was one story there that was fascinating, and it relates very much to this year's Australian Open. So listen to this. Remember in 2024 when Novak hurt himself at Roland Garros and he had surgery afterwards? He had to pull out. He beat Musetti, sorry. I'm trying to learn how to say it correctly. And then he pulled out, that knee surgery. And the doctor and his whole team were telling Novak, there's no way you can play Wimbledon. There's absolutely no chance that you can play Wimbledon. And Novak said in this interview that them saying there is no way you can play Wimbledon motivated him to not only play Wimbledon, but to win Wimbledon. Novak Djokovic is a competitor that I can only compare to Michael Jordan. That's an athlete that I've heard similar stories about. He is unbelievably competitive. So somebody tells Novak you can't do something, he's going to do it. And guess what? Novak comes back from this knee surgery. He's playing with a knee brace, makes the Wimbledon final. Of course, he loses to Alcaraz, but making the Wimbledon final right after having surgery was insane. And guess what? Shortly after that, he beats Alcaraz and wins Olympic gold. Very shortly after having knee surgery. And Novak said in this interview that if it wasn't for them telling him that he can't do it, he probably wouldn't have done it because that gave him so much extra motivation. So, in relation to the 2026 Australian Open, Novak said that a lot of the so-called tennis experts who wrote him off, that was part of the reason why he worked so hard in the off-season. And it's part of the reason why he was able to beat Sinner. I do think that Novak was maybe fueled a little bit by that guy who asked whether he was chasing Jannik and Carlos. So that's the type of competitor Novak is. If the crowd is against him, which now is not an issue anymore because I think wherever he goes, the crowd loves him, appreciates him, even against Sinner and Alcaraz. But if you write Novak off, if you are writing bad things about him, understand that you're only pumping him up. That's what you're doing. So if you're a Novak hater, don't write bad comment because what if Novak reads it? He's going to get pumped up. No, I don't think Novak consumes social media like that to that extent. But yeah, that was amazing to me listening to that what his mental state was like, between that knee surgery and him winning the Olympics. That was amazing. All right, let me take a look at the chat. Let's see what's going on in here, guys. Now, we almost got 300 people in here, 298. That's good, guys. Thank you. I wish Krejcikova could get back to full health. She's so good. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, Krejcikova is an absolute legend, but you guys know Ema from the matches that I posted last year, Ema Burgic, and she just played tournament in Western Florida And guess who was at the tournament? Andreescu. And I was a big fan of Andreescu's game. What a player she was, like U.S. Open champ, Indian Wells champ, and she's playing like 30Ks right now. And she even lost in that one. I mean, she won the one the week prior, but she lost in that one. So I'm telling you, the WTA tour is getting better and better. It's getting tougher and tougher to survive out there. The players ranked between like 100 and 300 are getting really good. It's tough. So Krejcikova, Andreescu, other players like that, former Grand Slam champs. It's not easy, but yeah, hopefully Barbara can figure it out and get back to full health. She's fun to watch for sure. Any thoughts on the upcoming Davis Cup? Zero thoughts. I'm not going to follow it until the very end, and that's a shame. But yeah, I don't even understand it, and the website is completely like, it's completely like, I can't understand it. I'm failing to come up with a word to describe that website. Like, I want to say something really bad. Like, I go on there, I don't know where to go. World Zone 3, and then like all these zones, and it's still old Davis Cup, right? In many ways, but they changed the top group into this horrendous format where it took away the home court advantage. So yeah, I'll still watch. I think that's one tournament that Alcaraz really wants to win. I wish he would have won it at Rafa. Man, I wish he would have won it at Rafa. But Wesley Kohlhoff was just too strong on that day. And Alcaraz with Granodier, he lost to Kohlhoff, and I think it was Van des Zandskop. So I want to see Alcaraz win Davis Cup. I do want to see that. So yeah, I will be watching, but not whatever is going on before. Like I don't know what that is. I really don't know. Thank you for the super chat. Slicing down the line breaks the backhand to backhand that benefits Jannik Sinner. Has variety for Carlos on balance. Jannik Sinner also that low bounce to the forehand. Jannik Sinner will hurt. That's going back to the other question that I answered. Yeah, of course. There's all these different things that can happen during the match. That can influence one player one way or another. It's hard to say, like as a generality, but of course, Alcaraz has a little bit more of a repertoire. Not that much, by the way, because I do think Jannik Sinner is catching up, and he's going to utilize different things to get Sinner out of a rhythm. But there's no generality there because it depends on the circumstance. Like I said before, it's very difficult to analyze when these two guys play against each other because they're so even. So it just depends, Okay, let's see here. Okay, you know what? Let's go on to the next thing on the board. And that is, what's next for Sinner? What is next for Jannik Sinner? So, here's the deal. The way social media works, the way tennis commentary works, is that people are quick to write a player off. It doesn't matter who it is. Djokovic was praised to the heavens after taking out Sinner, and after losing to Alcaraz, there are bad comments about Djokovic. So it can flip like within one day to the next. And Alcaraz, when he loses, destroyed in the comments. When he wins, praised, maybe too much. They're saying he's the GOAT. Nobody is better than Alcaraz. And then it's with Sinner, it's of course so toxic. It's insane how many haters Sinner has. I did a excerpt of a longer video during the Australian Open. I put it up as a short, and it did pretty well on Instagram. I think it got like 150K or something like that. It's just amazing to me how much hate Jannik gets, and I don't understand why. I really don't. I don't know where this comes from, to be honest with you. If you understand everything about Jannik, you'll know that he's a class act, a super nice guy, and he's got a little different personality than Carlos. That's true, but the hate is out of control. And of course, after he lost his match Novak, he's getting a lot of criticism, and he was getting criticism even after the Spizzirri match. So Jannik Sinner is often under fire. But here's the thing about Jannik that I want you guys to understand. He's an incredibly hard worker, and he was very, very upset for losing to Novak because he had all those chances. I've never seen Jannik so irked in a press conference. And you better believe Jannik is going to put in the hard work. He's going to come back stronger. Remember, people were speculating that Jannik Sinner may never recover from losing that match to Carlos at Roland Garros. And guess what happened next? Jannik Sinner won Wimbledon. So he's got a great coaching team. Those coaches are great. Cahill, fantastic coach, such a calm voice. Jannik, he's going to work hard. He's going to come back unbelievably strong. You better watch out. I'm not making any predictions, but there are some very important tournaments prior to Roland Garros, Indian Wells, Miami. I don't know if he's going to play the Dubai and Doha. He wanted to play Doha last year. He was there. So I don't know about that part of the season, but you better believe the big tournaments and then the clay court season, Jannik is going to do a tremendous amount of damage, I think. So we have to watch and see, but I don't think that this will affect him negatively. And I think this is a good tournament for him. Making the semis is a good result. I remember Rafa saying stuff like this. Making the semi is a phenomenal result, even if you're ranked number 1 in the world. It's very hard. You can't win every single Grand Slam tournament. It's impossible. So I think he's doing just fine. And his serve numbers, that's a very important stat for Jannik, were actually good against Novak. So I'm not worried about Jannik at all. What's next for Jannik? A lot of success. All right, let's take a look at the chat, and we got a couple more things in here that I want to share with you guys before we get out of here, okay? Jannik has def grabbed 1-2 slams this year. Yeah, I think, again, going back to Rafa said that winning 1 slam a year is a phenomenal year. So even if he wins with just 1, it's still a phenomenal year. So, yeah, I think the expectations on these guys is sometimes too much. Like, yes, they're making the final and winning every slam for such a long time now. I think since 2023 when Djokovic won 3 out of 4, and he lost to Alcaraz in the Wimbledon final, but Djokovic won everything else and won the U.S. Open against Medvedev, if I remember correctly. And then 24 was Sinner Medvedev AO final. So since Australian Open 24, it's been either Sinner or Alcaraz to win a Grand Slam. That's probably going to keep going, but it might not necessarily. It's not so easy. Things can happen. It's hard to be perfect all the time, but yeah, they're probably going to dominate. And even if they don't, they're still unbelievable players. And that's one thing that I by no means wanted people to misinterpret what I was saying about Novak in my semifinal analysis video, where I said that, the GOAT discussion is over and the level of play discussion is over, meaning that now that Novak has been able to make this result, beat Sinner in these circumstances, you can't ever say again that Sinner and Alcaraz are better than the big 3, because that's what I heard after Roland Garros. That's what I heard about after Wimbledon, after the U.S. Open. People saying that they've never seen tennis like this. This is the best tennis in the history of tennis. Nobody's ever played tennis like this. You can't say that anymore because way out of prime, Djokovic still beat Alcaraz 25 AO, and then he beat Sinner 26 AO. And so what that means is, like, prime Djokovic played against Nadal, lost to Nadal, played against Federer, lost to Federer. That level of tennis is above the level of tennis of Sinner and Alcaraz. Now, I'm not saying that Sinner and Alcaraz might not be considered the GOATs. They might be. They might get more Grand Slams than Djokovic. But even then, you have to acknowledge what happened in 2026 at the Australian Open. It's one of the most important matches in the history of tennis. It is truly what I believe. It was one of the most impressive things that I've ever seen on a tennis court. Yeah, this whole recency bias thing, like, what do you, when people say this, like, and somebody even commented on one of my video that, hold on one second, that it doesn't matter what happened in previous matches or head-to-heads, or None of that matters. You play every match fresh. And I think a lot of people are picking this up because Jannik said this in the press conference. I think it was after or before the Novak match or after the Novak match. I don't remember, but this is not right. This is not correct. You have to understand it's an individual sport and you can't make generalizations. So that certainly might be true for some players. And whether that's the way you should approach tennis, that's a whole nother subject. Maybe you should not worry that you lost to Novak 20 times in a row, like Monfils, or I don't know if it's 18 or 19 or Fritz 11. Maybe you should have that mindset. I'm not saying that, but do you think the history for Monfils and Fritz matters when they step on a court with Novak? Or Novak's history as a player versus theirs? Do you think that matters? Of course it matters. Are you kidding me? But it shouldn't matter for another player like Sinner. So it's different. Everybody's different. It's easy to say the history doesn't matter when you lose to somebody like 10 times in a row, to just say it doesn't matter. That's not so easy. So for other players, it doesn't matter. So that's why you can't predict tennis. That's what makes tennis so incredibly fun to watch, where you can't say that somebody wins a tournament the week prior to a Grand Slam, that person's going to do well in the Grand Slam. No. You can't say somebody that wins a Grand Slam is going to continue to do well because now they've won a Grand Slam. No. There are so many examples of the exact opposite. Players win a Grand Slam and they go in slumps, and then other players win Grand Slams and they're going to roll. So it's an individual sport. Everybody's a little bit different. And, it's just too difficult to generalize. All right, next thing on the board, and it's going to be a personal thing. Maybe some of you guys are interested in this, and it says here, getting in shape. Okay, so this strung so tight. I want to show you guys this one. This one's strung very looser. See that? That's nice. That's about like in the 30s. So speaking of tensions and rackets and just playing in general, I've had a lot of setbacks, like tennis wise, since like before the U.S. Open, because I hurt my back. I couldn't play. Then I had the December match month on Intuitive Tennis, and I was going to play a ton of matches. I played one and put it on the channel against Yevon. I was going to play against Andre. I was going to play against Ema. I was going to do all this stuff. And then I hurt my calf. In a practice match, I couldn't play at all. Then the left calf healed. I went on a court and played a set against Milan. I hurt my right calf. Now it doesn't hurt anymore. I think it's been like 3 weeks since that. It feels good. So today was the first day that I played again. I didn't hit a ball in like 3 weeks, and I haven't really played any tennis in probably like 5 months. Very little. So with me, what happens physically is that when I stop training and I stop playing, my physical level goes back to its natural state, which is a very poor state, because naturally I'm not that gifted of an athlete for tennis. So you think I'm already slow when you see me play. I get even slower and I move even worse. Like, so if you if you can imagine what that looks like. So I do want to get in shape and move better, and I want to start playing matches again. So I started again to work out, and I'm thinking about maybe documenting this, like not to make a video because like I don't do vlog style content, and I already did like a weight loss series, and I did put on a little bit of weight. I gotta lose maybe like 10 pounds. My mom is here right now, so it's so hard because she cooks so good, but yeah, I started working out. I might document this maybe on the Instagram stories, something like that. We'll see. And I do want to play matches this year and try to get better, because people, they like the matches that I put on my channel. There's a lot of engagement there. People love the Ema versus Andre series. So, and they also, some people like when I play, they like to, they like to write bad comments too, which is cool. I love it. I wouldn't say that I'm like Novak that gets motivated, but I don't mind bad comments. It's okay. Say whatever you want. So in any case, I want to get back in shape. I might document it, and you can expect more matches on the Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel. For sure during match month in December, but even throughout this season, especially in a time like between now and Indian Wells, I'll put up a few matches here and there. So we'll see. Um, also, tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm not sure yet. Look out for a video on the Alcaraz drop shot. I did make a video on the Alcaraz forehand drop shot a while back, like 3 years ago, but I have some new information and I also covered his backhand drop shot. So this will be a fun video. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe to Intuitive Tennis. All right, let's take a look at the chat. Also, you know Bilic. Okay, that's cool. Check out his podcast. It's a really good podcast, but of course, it's in Croatian. But now on YouTube, you can do translations if you're not Croatian. Do you think Iga will win Roland Garros? I can't say yet. I have to see how Iga plays, but she did recover her play form a little bit at Roland Garros last year. She lost to Sabalenka. It was like a shocking third set, 6-0 in the third, if I remember correctly. And then she went on and won Wimbledon, which was amazing from Iga. So it depends. I can't say that yet. Depends on the tournaments, but I do think Iga is the clay queen. Best player on clay by far. By far. Not even close. But of course, if she plays the way she's playing now, right now, she's not playing that poorly necessarily, but there are so many other players that are on fire. For sure, like Sabalenka and Rybakina are 1 and 2 level wise. Probably Rybakina right now is the best player in the world. Just from level, not the rankings. So it's going to be tough for Iga, but I think she can do it. Yeah, Feast and Draper, what a bummer, huh? Like especially Draper, he was on fire. That's a big bummer. And then Feast, one of my favorites. Like he's one of these guys that plays with the arrow, and his forehand is so heavy, it's crazy. His forehand is so insanely heavy, it's insane. A lot of insanes. Just to describe how heavy it is, you have to use the word insane. Heaviest forehand on tour, and I hope that he comes back. He's the only guy from France that has a kernel of a chance for Roland Garros. I'm not saying that he has a chance because he doesn't. It's a very tough tournament for French guys to win, but he has a kernel of a chance to do well on clay. So hopefully he comes back healthy. Shouldn't Novak skip the whole clay season? It will be brutal for his body. Plus, it will lower his rank, making him more likely to meet Alcaraz and Sinner early before the body breaks down. That's so ridiculous. That's no. You want to have the highest possible seed. Like, let's say Novak is unranked and he plays Sinner and Alcaraz in the first round. That's 100 times worse. I think he's better off playing him later because he uses those matches prior to build up confidence and match play, especially if he plays a sporadic season. So no, the lower his rank, the worse the chances. Trust me on that. And playing Sinner or Alcaraz in the quarters is also not good. So the higher the rank, the better it is. You want to play semis against one of them final, even though back-to-back is so brutal, you don't want to meet them earlier. Now, of course, you can maybe claim that the best players play their best tennis at the late stages of tournaments. It's true. But still, like, I'm just going back to, like, Rafa when I was following him so, like, closely, and I didn't want Rafa to play anybody good, like, early. Never. I didn't want that to happen. Like, I was always scared who comes in the quarterfinals. And then a few times when Rafa's ranking dropped and he got Djokovic in the quarters, I was like, oh my God, why? Why? And then he would sometimes come through, sometimes he wouldn't. So yeah, no, that's not a solution for Novak at all, to let his ranking drop on purpose. No. Musetti, Zverev, Shelton, Bublik, who's breaking higher? Zverev is above those guys. I wouldn't put Zverev in the league of those guys. Zverev is above those, and he proved that in this tournament. He's the fourth best player in the world by a lot when he plays like this. He is. Now, of course, he had a slump last year, was losing early in slams, but he's not the same level of player as those other guys. He's above. Maybe not that much, but he's but he's not. He's above, not way above, but he's above. Those other guys have to win some big titles. They have to manage to beat the top guys before they can be considered at the level of Zverev. You got to respect the level of Zverev. He's not. Yeah, he's won some big titles, and he's beaten all the top guys, all of them. What can we learn from Musetti's game that bothered Novak? First of all, Musetti took a lot of confidence from the Athens match, I believe. He played very aggressive there, especially, on his serve, of course, but even from defensive positions, he was blasting. I don't think he was necessarily blasting to that same extent, but he was played a very good match against Novak before getting hurt. But we have to acknowledge that there was an off day for Novak. So it wasn't really anything tactically that he did different. I just thought that Novak played a weird match. Like, in that first set, I remember like that weird kick serve and volley at 3-2 break point. Musetti hit a backhand down the line, return winner. It was just one of those weird matches for Novak where he's not there like mentally, like a lot of those matches that he had in the regular season. For example, against Arnaldi or Nardi the year before in Indian Wells, or it was one of those matches I felt that particular day. And again, maybe Novak would have gotten out of this one and won in 5, but maybe not. Maybe not. But Musetti, no, he's a completely transformed player. He's a different player than he was before on hard court. He's got confidence now on the surface, and he can do a tremendous amount of damage. I want to see Musetti win a title. I want to see him do well. Maybe he enters some of these smaller tournaments indoors in Europe. Maybe, I don't know how strong Dubai or Doha are going to be, but maybe he's going to play there. And I think he's got to get a title now and end the drought, because the last time he won a title was 22 against Alcaraz in Hamburg. Okay, guys, last thing on the board is ITP. That's Intuitive Tennis Premium. And I want you to check out intuitivetennis.com, because that's my membership site. And on intuitivetennis.com, you're going to find a tremendous amount of value. You're going to find courses that you can buy, like one-time purchase courses, and I cover all the strokes. My methodology is completely finished. I've done everything. I even posted a doubles course this year. So I'm done. I might do another course next year, maybe, or might not, but I've been doing 1 to 2 courses every year since I started going online, and my library is completed. So you can go on there, look at any course, and if you want me to give you a discount, I'll give you one. I'll give you 50% off. Just DM me on Instagram and just write discount. And then I'm going to send you a link. You can select the course that you want. Tell me which one you want, and I'll make you a personalized code. I'll do that. So if you have interest in that, I'll do that. But that's not the only thing on intuitivetennis.com. There are also, other than the courses, there's the premium membership site, which is different from the one-time purchase courses. And that's a membership site where it's a monthly fee of $14.99, which I've had like for 4 years. I've never increased it. And I probably should, because it's too low of a price to make any money. But the value I provide on Intuitive Tennis Premium is amazing. Sorry, I have to switch hands. It's so cold in Florida right now. It was like 0 degrees Celsius here yesterday. Can you imagine? That the intercoastal was steaming. There was like steam coming out of it. Like I haven't seen this type of cold in like 16 years. It's crazy. So Intuitive Tennis Premium is my membership site, and where you're going to find a tremendous amount of value. There are courses on there as well. Like I just posted the roll of the elbow on there, which is a full course. There's a swing path mastermind. There's the roll of the wrist. There's the Croatian serve. There are so many courses that can help you. Intuitive tennis tactics, problems at the rec level. You're gonna find a lot of videos to improve your tennis game. There's also a private WhatsApp chat group where I communicate on a more personal level with my students. And there's a monthly Q&A where I go in real depth. Like I've been doing these Q&As now for 4 years, and we discussed a lot of really important topics. I'm about to post the January Q&A for 2026. So check out intuitivetennis.com. You can also get the app on the iOS App Store, and it's a membership that I'm keeping as cheap as I possibly can, $14.99 a month, and it's a great service. And even if you want to just support Intuitive Tennis, I know a lot of you guys put super chat here. I'm very appreciative. A lot of you guys are members on my YouTube channel. There are some perks with that too, but not that many. But I have more benefits, like way more on the Intuitive Tennis Premium. So check it out, subscribe, and we can connect on a little bit more personal level. So let me go through a couple more questions, guys, and then we're gonna call it a day. Okay? It's already 5:16. It's gonna get dark here very soon, so I want to finish this before it gets dark. Who do you think is the third guy that's going to challenge Sinner and Alcaraz, since Novak right now is doing that job somehow? I don't know. Zverev is the next best guy. I don't see any of the other guys. It's completely theoretical, like Fonseca or Shelton. Fonseca, of course. He's got to first make it into the top 20. Like, way too early to talk about him. But Shelton is so far away. Like, he's close to the top 5, but he's so far away from that level. Like, and so is everyone else except Zverev. And even Zverev is far away. But Zverev is the closest one. And especially on clay, I think Zverev likes clay. He's the closest one. Stay warm out there. I'm trying. I was on the court this morning, like all bundled up. It was so cold. This morning on the court was 6 degrees Celsius. It's so cold. And the tough thing about that is, like, it's not really your body that's cold. It warms up, but it's the hands that are cold, and you have no feel. And I did a video this morning on drop shots, and all the balls died. They weren't bouncing. And of course, I had no feel at all. And I did a demonstration for drop shot. So the video is coming out very soon. Check it out. But it was very tough to make because it was so freezing. Can Sascha win a slam? Like I said in the very beginning, one of those questions on the board was like, what if he would have beaten Zverev? I think he's very far away from a slam, unfortunately. But he's the guy that's the closest to a slam. But he's far away. It's tough. He's going to have to come through like 3 guys because Djokovic's still there. And he's going to have to come through both of Sinner and Alcaraz when Djokovic is gone. So it's going to be very difficult. What tennis YouTube channels do you follow? I, of course, follow Tennis Nerd. He's he's super informative, and he's a personal friend of mine. And I have some other friends, like from Germany. You guys won't know the channels because these are German channels, but since grew up in Germany, I have a lot of German friends, and some of them have YouTube channels. Actually, one guy from Germany that you might know is Tennis House. He makes English videos. He's a coach out in close to New Orleans. Let's see. I watch Carousel. I watch that. Oh, number one that I watch, Winston Do. I watch Winston. I watch those videos a lot. Let's see who else. I always will check out Tennis Brothers, Felix, see what he's up to. I'll always check that out. Let's see what else. Trying to think. I'm blanking right now, but I don't consume that much tennis content. So this is not a disrespect to anybody who makes content. Like on Instagram, I go on Instagram to either check my DMs, and I go on Instagram to post, and I'm off right away. I'm a TikTok guy. I consume TikTok, and I'm on Threads. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, but never about tennis. Because like when I'm consuming social media, I want to get a break from tennis too sometimes, So I don't really watch tennis videos. Oh, I forgot. I used to watch Served um, all the time, but now it's just like when they have somebody interesting on. Like I watched the Rafa interview, I watched the Agassi interview. I haven't watched the Rune interview yet. I will. I'll check it out. And that's not a knock on Serve. I just have had that much time to listen to Served. Nothing major. I'll also sometimes listen to. And there's a podcast with Petkovic and Becker that I listened to a little bit. And they're the one with Pegula and Keys, Brady, and who's the other one? Kravchik, I think. I don't know how to say her name. So I will here and there listen to it when I'm like passively. Passively, I'll try, because that's easier. Like you can, do something else, string a racket or clean the house or whatever. Go for a walk. Go for a lot of walks. That's when I'll listen to that stuff. So if I have to actually watch, that's only like Winston, Carew, like Tennis Nerd. That's really the only ones I actually watch. The other ones I listen to. And one thing I listen to that I love, Advantage Connors, and I do listen sometimes to Craig Shapiro. I don't know if you guys know him. He has cool stories about tennis. So yeah, I consume quite a bit, but not as much as I used to, simply because like I'm doing so much with tennis that I want to get a break from it too every now and then. And I have other stuff that I watch on YouTube. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that is, but I love YouTube. YouTube and TikTok, my two favorites. You play at 0 degrees Celsius in New York. It's so funny. When I play college tennis, Murray State was in Kentucky. And, the months where you play college tennis is like in the spring and, you know, early, like in the winter still, I guess. Like you have matches from when you get there, like January, end of January to like May. So January, February, was some really cold weather, and we would play indoors a lot, but sometimes we play outside. And they had a rule back then: if it was below 40, you couldn't play. So that's like the most matches I've played in like 40-degree weather, and I even hated it back then. I can't stand playing in the cold. I play in the blistering sun, the heat, like no problem. I mean, yeah, there's a problem. Okay, don't get me wrong. There's a huge problem, but I don't mind that. But I hate the cold. I don't like it at all. When will you collaborate with Winston Do? Okay, so last year, Winston came to a Racket X. It was like a convention in Miami during the Miami tournament, and we had set everything up to play in Miami. And I went to play a practice match with Milan to prepare for that match because I didn't play in a while. Um, and I did something to my knee. Actually, prior to playing Milan, it was more of a test. Actually, it wasn't practice against Winston. I remember I was testing the knee to see how it is. I was communicating with Winston the whole time because I hurt my knee on another time. I don't remember exactly what it was. And my knee is very up and down. It's like it hurts a lot during the year, but there are some times where I can play pain free. So it's a really chronic problem. And the test with Milan didn't go well. I had severe pain. I couldn't move at all to my left. So unfortunately, I had to cancel for that match with Winston. But I would have loved to play it. It would have been so fun to collaborate. So if Winston is back for Racket X, if they're even having Racket X next year, if he's in Miami, we'll try to do it again. And maybe one of these days I'll be able to go to California and do something over there. We'll see. Let's see here. Yeah, Craig Shapiro has access to a lot of good guests. Yeah, it's amazing. Like he knows everybody on tour. Like I don't know Craig personally, but like I heard he was a stringer for Agassi, if I got that right. He's a very outgoing guy, and all the players know him. I think from back in that era, and he gets everyone for the podcast. And I think the interviews are quite good. So, and he breaks a lot of like these stories on X. Like he'll break a lot of things because he has inside information on certain things on tour. So yeah, he's a great source of information, Craig Shapiro. You're not going to Indian Wells? No, I can't. I won't be going there. No, not to Indian Wells. Maybe Miami, but probably not even there because like my schedule is so insane. I don't really have time. Did Nick talk about Djokovic's liver problem? I never talked about that. I have no idea what that is. I never heard of that before. There's a lot of stuff when you watch stuff in Serbian about Novak, YouTube. There's a lot of comments with a lot more speculation than on the English stuff. Like I don't know why that is, but there's more speculation in the Serbian comments, and I don't really know if it's true or not. I have no idea. Let's see. Is your website a great place to start for someone new to tennis and wants to learn how to play? Yeah, of course. Because for one, you have that private chat group, WhatsApp chat group, and you have the monthly Q&A. So you have more of a personal access to me for instruction. And I forgot to mention, you get discounts on a lot of my services. So like all the one-time purchase courses are 50% off, and video analysis is 50% off. On-court lessons are 50% off. And the website itself has a lot of beginner content and a lot of instruction on how to develop your strokes. So yeah, definitely the website is great, really for any level of the game. Regarding Minaur, should he try to rebuild his serving technique? It seems suboptimal at the moment. Would you agree? I can't really answer that because I haven't really gone in depth on his serve. I did post a short form video on the Minaur serve. It's a lot faster than people think. It's actually not as bad as people think it is. Like the serve is nice. But I don't know. I would have to take a deep look, analyze it, do one of my pro analysis type videos to be able to find something there. But I can just tell you that I rarely find anything on the pros. So most of the corrections could be stylistic. And whether that's going to help a player or not, I have absolutely no idea. So you're not going to find me very often making corrections in professional serves. More so on the WTA, but rarely, if ever, on the ATP. So I don't even know if it's worth making a video on him. But just out of curiosity's sake, I'll probably take a deeper look on the Minaur serve and go from there. But yeah, the serve is way better than you think it is. It's way faster too. Can Osaka re-enter top 10? Yeah, absolutely. Osaka is a different player now. Making that final in what was it, Toronto, I think, no? Where she lost to Mboko. That was the first step. She beat a lot of players to make it into the final, then semis US Open. Then kind of some up and down results, but she pulled out of the Australian Open. But yeah, she's back to winning a lot of matches. I think she's highly capable of being in the top 10. I wouldn't go as far as saying like top 5 because the top 5 is so stacked right now. Like Pegula is so good. She's so good. Then you have Goff, you have Swiatek, Rybakina, Sablenka. Like that's tough to get into that group, right? But definitely top 10 though. Oh, Changeover Podcast. Yeah. I listened to that as well. I forgot to mention those guys. Those guys do a phenomenal job, get great guests. And I always get Nothing Major and Changeover mixed up. Like when I'm referring to guests being on there, I always get those mixed up. Um, yeah, they have some great interviews um, on Changeover for sure. Still working with Ema. Yeah, we work together a lot. We don't work together full time because I don't have time to do any type of full time coaching. Because I'm full time taking care of intuitivestands.com and all my different platforms and social media, and that's tremendously time consuming. So I don't really have time to coach anyone, and I don't have time to travel. I'm not going to get into why, but I can't travel anywhere. So no, this wouldn't be the right situation for Ema. She needs a full time coach because she's nonstop playing tournaments. And we quickly realized that because she did ask me to coach her, but then I told her, listen, I can do it while I'm here, but you need somebody else. And then we quickly realized even when she's here, I don't have enough time. And she needs somebody there with her multiple hours a day, morning, afternoon. She needs a physio, like she needs a fitness coach, like she needs a full team, like to maximize her potential. And I just can't give her the time that she needs. So we still work though. When she's here, we train, we make videos together. So we're definitely working together, but not like she has a coach. I think it's an academy in California. Okay, do you hit regularly or are you just injury prone? If I don't hit 1.5, 6 days a week, I feel like I'm your age. You know what it is? I talked about this with Jonas on the Tennis Nerd podcast. I don't need to really hit. I hate hitting. And this doesn't mean that you should do what I'm about to say, but I hate rallying. I hate drilling. Drilling is okay because I can get in shape, but just rallying down the middle or cross court, I can't stand it. I'm not gonna do it. I love to play sets because I love the competitive aspect of tennis. So that's what I want to do. And so here's the tricky thing, like the hitting part, like when we're just rallying and warm up, I feel good. And I'm very good stationary still. I haven't lost that much there. I can still hit really well stationary. I don't miss. I can hit hard. So I haven't really lost much at all. And I even think that some of my technique has improved, like because I'm really working on some of the technical things. So that's stationary though. When you play a match, that's where your athleticism comes into play because everything's requires setup. And that's where my level has dropped off tremendously. So it's about getting into shape, and getting maybe a little bit lighter so that I can play better in matches. But I don't need to practice hitting more balls to be able to do that. I just need to get in a little better shape and then just play more matches, and I'll play better in matches. I know I will. So um, it's going to be a little bit different for other people that maybe you know require different things in their training. Maybe you need like more work on your serve or whatever it is. I certainly have many things that I got to put in some time to as well. For example, my backhand's gotten worse. So, that's different for everyone, but for me, it's very specific. It's like really about like being trying to move a little bit better out there. It's going to help me a lot to play matches because again, like I said before, if I completely stop like working out, my movement goes to the natural state of horrendous, based on just my genetics being kind of bad for tennis movement wise. But that doesn't influence my strokes like from stationary positions. I think until I'm very old, I'll be able to like get 100 in a row and volley well. I can very comfortably volley at the net if I don't have to move. I'm okay, and I can serve. I've lost a lot of power on my serve, but I can still serve quite well. So yeah, it's more the physical part. But I'm on it. I'm gonna start working out every day. Oh, this is funny. I like when Emma interviewed you. She asked you questions about, and you said they were too easy. Yeah, that was fun. I was on the Emma. I think she changed the name of her podcast. It was the Amazing Podcast, like EMA, Amazing Podcast, and now it's like the oh, I don't know the name. I don't know the new name of the podcast, but she changed the name. And I was on there like I think twice or three times. Three times, I think. Yeah, three times. And it was always fun. Now last time she asked me like some questions about tennis. And that was really fun actually. They were too easy, yeah. But I like that type of stuff because I'm for sure a tennis historian. To a certain extent. Like don't ask me about the 70s, even some of the 80s, but if we're talking about 90s and from there on, I'm pretty good. Do you speak Croatian still? Yeah, of course. I speak perfect Croatian, perfect German. I mean, I'm still a little bit rusty in my German. I have a German YouTube channel that I started recently. Like my Croatian now is like better in my German because I speak Croatian with my mom and I go to Croatia every summer. But you know, this is like when my dad was still alive. He died in 2021. My parents still lived in Germany, but after my dad died, my mom moved back to Croatia. So I don't go to Germany anymore. So unless I'm speaking German with like friends here, I don't get the opportunity to speak German as much as Croatian. Croatian, I speak nonstop with my mom anyway and my other family members. And when I go to Croatia, of course. So I've made an effort to like to speak more German, so it stays kind of sharp. And I wouldn't say that was the motivator for the German channel, but I think it's fun because I have a few students that speaks German, and it's very natural to make content with them and put it on the other channel. So if I have time, I'm gonna make some more videos in German. Wonder if Nole is gonna chill during the clay season. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think he loves playing in Monte Carlo. I think he's gonna play that one. Maybe Madrid. I don't know. We'll have to see. But again, like don't underestimate him at the Roland Garros, even if he doesn't play anything. He comes to those tournaments and he's not easy to play. So I don't know. We have to see. Do you think women should play 5 sets? Yes, 100%. Not the whole not the entire tournament, but maybe in the finals like they used to do. At the WTA finals, I think they played the final 5 sets. Do that. Just play the final of a Grand Slams and the final of the WTA finals 5 sets, and leave everything else best of 3. Which part of Germany did you live in? I lived in Ahaus, which is in Nordrhein-Westfalen, close to the Dutch border. It was Kreisborken. It was close to Münster, about an hour from Düsseldorf, north. That's where I lived. And what's the name of your German channel? You won't be able to find it because it's got like no followers. It's Intuitives Tennis. So if you type that in, you're only going to find you're only going to find the main channel and my second channel. So what I'll probably do, like I'll probably will put the German channel in the description of this live stream. When I'm done with this, I'll put it in here. And then you can go back to this video, click on the description, and you'll find a link for the German channel. I'll put a German flag in front of the video, and you can find it through that. Can Alcaraz win all 4 Grand Slams this year? Not easy, but your opinion on the matter? Yeah, of course. He's got an unbelievable opportunity to do it. He's the best clay court player in the world, and he's currently the best player in the world. Let's say he wins Roland Garros. Okay, now we're talking about Wimbledon, where he won twice, right? And we know what happened at the U.S. Open last year. So it's like one of those things, like that Novak had so many opportunities to do, but never could do. Brian Brothers had it lined up at the U.S. Open, couldn't do. Maybe Carlitos can do it. He certainly is that good that he would be able to pull off something like that for sure. What's next for Shamir? His strokes got really good. I'm glad you asked. So I talk to Shamir all the time. We haven't played in a while, but I haven't seen him since the Bremen match. I'll tell you why. He just had a second kid, so he's very busy with that. He also hurt himself again. He started running marathons for some reason. I think he's done with that, and he ran a half marathon. He had a bunch of different little injuries here and there, and so busy with the baby. But he's ready. He's ready. He's ready to keep going. We're gonna do a lot of Shamir this year, hopefully, because I want to keep working with him. I want to keep working with these students that I feature on my channel for sure. And number one guy is Shamir. Like I definitely want to make more content with him, go out there and train with him, and show you guys the process. It's been a little bit tough with Shamir. Just so many ups and downs, so many injuries, so many stop and goes. So he's kind of been stagnating a little bit. But nevertheless, I think it's still good content, and we want to see how good Shamir can become. You know, he can keep improving. Okay, so what happened to Safin? Okay, I talked about this a few times. Safin had like a school lined up. It was a D1 school. I talked to the coach actually, and he would have played anywhere between 3 and 6 on the lineup, and they couldn't agree on the financials, so they didn't offer him that much of a scholarship, and that didn't work out. So there was a couple of other offers that Safin turned down. Okay, and he decided to, like, instead of going to taking those offers, he decided to keep playing tournaments and stuff. And then, as he was doing that, playing these tournaments, he hurt his wrist really badly, had to have surgery, and he was out for like a year and a half from that. And it completely destroyed this if you want to call it, tennis career. But it destroyed the plan that he had. And I thought that, in the college system, he would have been protected. He could have, like, been redshirted or whatever. The injury wouldn't have necessarily have um, hurt his eligibility. He would have still been able to play 4 years probably, or maybe even if he would have played 3 years. But he would have had training there, training room. He would have been able to go to school, and that would have been great. Other than, like, just he actually ended up working and stuff, um, and not being able to play tennis at all. It's like it was just such a horrible timing, that injury. And I think he's going to school now. He plays a little bit on the side here and there, but that was tough for him. That part was tough for him, but he was doing okay. It was a little bit tough for Safin, like, because, and I've documented a lot of this on the channel. I think the goals were maybe a little bit too high, and I don't know when that started exactly with these two goals, but when they set the goals too high, you get disappointed, and you can get really depressed with your game, because you see that you'll never reach this goal that you had that was too high. So what I try to do with him is, like, work really hard, put in the work, and just, like, go step by step. Okay, we got a UTR tournament on the weekend. Let's get the win. Step by step. Let's get the UTR up. Let's get the ranking up. Let's do it step by step. Something that we can do within a month or 2 months, and try to approach it that way. But I think, yeah, I don't know exactly. I couldn't really tell you exactly what the issue was, but the main issue was this injury that completely took him out of the game. And then, the series never really finished. We had to end it because he wasn't playing. So um, I haven't talked to Mel in a while, but yeah, I tried to keep in touch with him as much as I can. I haven't been to Murray since, wow, since 2006 was the last time I was at Murray. 2006, so it's been a long, long time. Yep, been 20 years since I've been at Murray. And yeah, I almost went back last year, but I can't really go into details. But I almost went back last year, so hopefully I'll go back there. I want to go back there really badly another time. I love Murray State. I'm very proud to have played there with Benny Purcell, rest in peace, and Mel Purcell. So I want to go back. I never met Novak in person. No. Did you ever consider pros? Yeah, of course. Like, when I was growing up and playing juniors, I wanted to play pro very badly. I mean, I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life. And it goes way deeper than that. I really don't want to get into it here. But yeah, of course, when I was growing up, that's what I wanted to do. But then I had this idea that I really wanted to play college tennis. So that was a goal for me. And then when I was finished with college tennis, again, it's a story for another day, but I started working right away as a coach immediately. I never even tried to play futures, where pretty much everyone that I knew went to play futures, and they gave it their shot on tour. Even my teammates at Murray State. Frederick, Frederick Sunston played for a year or two, and even, like, Thiago Gondim, he even played. So these are guys that were behind me on the team, and they couldn't believe that I didn't play. But I just didn't want to. I had, first of all, no money, so I had to borrow money, and I'm the type of guy that doesn't like to borrow money from anyone. I couldn't really get a sponsor. I would never ask my parents for money. That's ridiculous. And I was just broke. But there's more to the story. I would usually get money from the playing club matches in Germany. But that year I didn't decided not to go because there was a match that I didn't get to finish. I think I talked about this in one of my videos on YouTube. You can find it if you look hard enough. But yeah, it was clear for me that I had to, I had to work. It would have been like stupid to just play. It would have been really tough financially. Didn't have anything to do with my level because that was like the last time I was at a good level. After that, I was never at that level again. Because once you start teaching full time, you lose your level big time. The type of level. So I went to Rockford, Illinois, and I got a full time job as an assistant teaching professional at the Clock Tower Racket Club, and I did that for 2 years, and then I worked in Hawaii at the Royal Kona Tennis Club, and then at Mount Alani Resort. I was the head coach there. So I started immediately teaching, and in retrospect, it was the correct decision, because that was my calling, more so than playing, for sure, was teaching, for sure. In other words, like, it wouldn't have done me any favors for my profession, which is coaching, if I would have played for like 5 years, 10 years, and then started coaching. It would have been actually worse. And that's what happened to a lot of these guys that like played on tour. They started coaching at like 30, 35. And unless they're coaching like on tour, pro players, that's different. But if they want to go into developmental coaching, um, you know, juniors, uh, teaching adults, that's a whole nother world. And they had to learn from scratch. Where I was benefited from my dad, put me on the court very, very young age. So I already had experience going into my first teaching job. And, since I was so young, I developed a lot of years of experience, which at the end of the day helped me to become a better coach. So it was 100% the correct choice for me to not play futures and not play on tour. Now, if you want to talk about marketing, that's different. Like, because that's all people go by. This guy was 200. He must be a good coach. This guy was on tour or whatever. Uh, I don't think you should look at that because that's doesn't give you enough information about the coach. So it doesn't mean that somebody that was like ranked a certain ranking is all right away a good coach. It doesn't mean that. Somebody put up on Instagram, I saw it, like, what was it? Was it Samuel Lopez made $90 career prize money or something, and he's coaching Alcaraz and he's doing a fantastic job. He's a fantastic coach. So yeah, even at that level, it doesn't necessarily mean that. So yeah, you can't go by that. Thank you for the super chat. Will women slice volley more on grass clay this year? No, but I will say Sabalenka has started to come to the net more, slicing more. There are some players who do that a lot anyway. There are like Tatiana Maria, Muchova comes to the net a lot. Krejcikova can come to the net. So, it depends a little bit on the player, and depends on each individual player whether they're adding variety to their game. But as a general thing, I would say no. They're not going to necessarily going to do it more. That's not where the game is going on the women's side. It's not like becoming a game of more versatility. It's becoming a game of power. And look who's dominating the game. Sabalenka, Rybakina, it's becoming a game of power. And you still have other styles, no doubt about it, but the game is going towards power, I think. Guys, I'm getting really cold out here. Think I'm gonna have to call it a day. Like, I'm starting to shiver out here. Um, yeah, let me do one more question, and then we're gonna call it because I'm like freezing out here, guys. I don't know what the temperature is, but like Florida is insane right now. It's insane. So let me do one more question. Oh, this is something I've been hearing. Do you think the bottle issue from Rome is the source of Novak's subsequent physical issues due to nervous system dysregulation? I don't know, man. I don't know. I remember that the bottle thing fell on his head. I don't know. People say this like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I have no idea. Um, okay, let me see. I'm gonna pick a good one to finish off with because I need to go inside and warm up. I'm literally like starting to freeze. Um, I don't do good in the cold. Let me tell you one quick story. I told you I was my first job was assistant teaching professional at Clock Tower Rec Club in Rockford, Illinois. That's like an hour west of Chicago. And I promised myself to never live in the cold again after spending 2 years in Rockford. I froze my you know what off. And I was fortunate to be able to go to Hawaii from Rockford. Loved it there. And I've been in warm weather since. No more cold for me. Unless these couple of days in Florida has been insane, guys. It's been so cold. I can't handle it. Okay, let's go. One more question. Oh, okay, this is a good one. At what age is optimal to teach kids to play tennis? This is fantastic. I'm going to finish with this. Let me take a sip of water here real quick, and we're going to a good question to finish with. By the way, for you guys that are asking about Simone is right here. He's sleeping. He's not on camera. He's been camera shy a little bit lately. He hasn't showed himself, but I can't control that. I'm sorry for keeping the mic next to the water. That was really stupid. I should have gone like this. I apologize for that. It was pretty gross. My bad. All right. What's the perfect age for kids to start playing tennis? All right, here's the thing. I deal with this a lot with my friends. It's something that I talked a lot about with Shamir because he's got a kid that's like super into tennis, and he wants so badly to teach him. But the kid is 4, so I did this to my daughter play tennis, and I wanted really badly for her to play tennis. My goal was for her to get a Division I scholarship, and she ended up like quitting tennis at 13. But we trained from like 4 to 13, like really, really, excuse me, really hard every day. And she was even homeschooled for a while. She played tournaments. Ema was her coach. So I can tell you from experience, working with my daughter, working with many kids that are young, and working with parents who are very eager to put their kids in tennis, that it all depends on the kid's focus. So when you have a kid out there who's maybe like 4 or 5, and you're trying to teach the kid, but the kid gets distracted by a leaf or by something happening outside the court and starts looking, starts kicking stuff on the court. In the middle of a exercise, he runs to his parents, like this type of stuff where the focus is not there, the attention span is very short. Lessons are a complete waste of time. Now, of course, you can work on motor skills, throw the ball, do things like that. That's fine. But actual tennis lessons are a waste of time. There is going to be a day, though, when that kid will be focused. And when that is depends on the kid. Some can get focused at 3, 4, 5. I've seen it. I would say on average is between 5 and 7. And that day will come where the kid can actually pay attention and actually learn how to hold the racket, how to swing. And then once you have that, as quickly as possible, learn to rally. And hopefully the kid falls in love. And the rest is history. So it doesn't hurt to keep trying, but don't force it when the kid like doesn't have the attention span to put him in like an hour-long lesson. That's a complete waste of time. And maybe that can do actually damage where the kid doesn't like tennis, starts hating it. So look for that moment where the kid has focus and can actually concentrate and absorb things and actually have a real lesson. And that's your cue to start to continue with lessons. Guys, I'm absolutely freezing. I got to get out of here. My hand is shivering. It's too cold in Florida. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. We're going to do one for sure before Roland Garros. So I'm going to do these more frequently. And I will see you guys then. Take care. Oh, Simone. It's so cold. Let's go inside, buddy.